Netanyahu is not going to get away with trying to pass his reform bill without any extreme violence. I mean, cops are already attacking people for protesting. He fires the defense minister, somebody on his side, for who opposes the bill, and um, it's just gonna end up getting worse. If they do ratify the bill, I predict that the protests are going to intensify even more because nobody is wanting a fascist dictatorship in Israel.
Israel's months-long political crisis intensified on Sunday. Protesters blocked a major highway and set fires in Tel Aviv. In Jerusalem, they broke through the barricades around Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's residence. Netanyahu's firing of Defense Minister Yoav Gallant gave the opposition to a judicial overhaul new momentum. Gallant was the first senior member of Netanyahu's Likud party to express concerns about the effect the protests were having on national security. He tweeted, "The security of the state of Israel has always been and will always remain my life's mission."
I believe that the game is not over yet, and we are heading towards Israel's worst political and judicial crisis. I think that it will end in a head-on collision between the government and the Knesset on one hand and the judiciary.
The Israeli military raised its alert level. Netanyahu didn't speak publicly, but he tweeted, "We must all stand up strongly against refusals." The judicial overhaul would give politicians the final say in appointing judges and allow Parliament to override Supreme Court decisions with a simple majority. Netanyahu says it will strengthen democracy and balance the courts. Critics say the reforms will erode Israel's democracy. The Attorney General says Netanyahu should not be participating in discussions of judicial reform while he's on trial for corruption.
The judicial, you call it reform, it's a coup, it's a judicial vandalism of the checks and balances of any democracy. And what we see as a result in the street is authentic, is genuine, is spontaneous.
Shortly after,
It is pretty funny. Yeah, Netanyahu is being charged with like bribery and stuff, so he becomes PM again, and then decides he wants to reform the uh, judicial part. He wants to do some reform of the government so that the party that he's in at the moment, who has a supermajority, can override anything that the courts say, so that he can be like, "Oh, you say I'm guilty for bribery? Nope, my party says I'm not."
after Gallant was fired, Israel's consul general in New York resigned. The Knesset was supposed to vote on the judicial overhaul on Wednesday, but there's mounting pressure for Netanyahu to compromise. Protest leaders are calling for a demonstration in front of the Knesset on Monday. About 24 local council leaders are staging a hunger strike in front of the Prime Minister's office. University classes are canceled. Several dozen doctors have called in sick in protest, and there's talk of a workers' union holding a strike. A senior member of the governing coalition says Netanyahu has made a strategic mistake.